Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Time Out. Kamusta? How was your love month so far? Welcome to Time Out. I'm your host, Pau, who will be with you and serving you for the whole hour. And I want you to be with me because this is one amazing show that I want you to be part of. By the way, bago tayo magsimula, I just want to acknowledge the people's working with me. Si Emmy, she would be my guide through and through. So I just want to say do a shout out for her. Hi, Emmy, thank you for being with us this afternoon. Now, here's the thing. Since this is one fired up afternoon, alam mo naman, tradisyon na natin dito sa Time Out, yung mga usual question. Una, kamusta love month ninyo? How was the month so far? Was it a month of great experience? Was it a month of adventure? Was it a month na, uy, may mga nagagawa akong bago or yet? Or may mga bago kang na-discover sa buhay mo? Pwedeng love life? Pwedeng love sa life? Or pwedeng love sa sarili mo? I want to know them all. Now, since I've mentioned that already, pwede bang maglambing? The usual naman tayo dito sa Time Out. A number of you, I believe, have been watching Time Out for more than a year, more than 2 years perhaps. Favor, at the comment section below, can you please tag, top of mind, tag 5 people that you want to be encouraged and inspired this afternoon on how to have a fired up life like all of us. Okay? Sa comment section. Please, top of mind, 5 people. Now, while you're doing that, I'll give you 10 seconds. Hayaan nyo munang magkwento muna ako dito. No? Since you're typing, 5 people that you want to be inspired. Another thing, I would also want to invite you to type there your name and your current location. So at least I can do a little shout out. Mabati ko man lang kayo this afternoon. Okay? Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Now, while you're doing that, again, this show, by the way, will be in Taglish. Well, actually, 2 languages. English, for the main reason that we're being watched all over the world, for the benefit of other brothers and sisters from, again, other side of the world. The second one is, may mga nanonood kasi sa ating mga Pilipino overseas. So, magta-Taglish din po ako. Ngayon, kung di nyo po naiintindihan yung ibang salita, tulad ng sinasabi ko ngayon, best recommendation for friends who can't understand the language, get a Filipino friend to help translate the words that I am mentioning. Now, currently looking at the comment section here and now, please keep on tagging, please keep sharing this show. Again, 5 people, top of mind, that you want to inspire. And the other one is, please mention your current location. Hi, Jennifer Salcedo. Shout out to you. All right. We are live here and now. It's currently 4:04 in the afternoon. If you're watching this live, please do this hashtag Team Live, for us to know that we're watching you live at the same time. If ever you're watching this on a replay, do that's the hashtag Team Replay. Now, while you're doing that, kwento pa ako, we are live right now. If in case we might be experiencing some technical glitches, halimbawa, wala kami sa on show, stay there. And we'll see to it, we'll be able to get back with you as soon as possible. All right. Keep chatting. I just want to say hi to Ashley and Ruth Mendoza. Please come. Grace Goronal, may I also know where you are located? Please, pa-comment naman kung nasan kayo. At least mabati ko po kayo kung nasan man po kayo ngayon. Alright? Okay. A few announcements while we're doing this. First announcement, mali. Natawa tuloy ang sarili ko. Tatanungin ko lang kayo bago ko mag-announce. Kung ikaw ay sasagot, or at least kung sasagutin niyo itong tanong na to, and I want you to answer this one. What do you want to reawaken in your life? Might be wondering, ano ibig sabihin ni Pao? Ano yung bagay na gusto mo mangyari sa buhay mo? Gusto mo bang, for example, gusto kong mabuhay muli yung pagmamahal ko sa yung faith ko dati. Na before I was so fired up with my faith, sana mabuhay muli siya. Or gusto kong bumalik yung passion ko for reading, so at least I can finish the books that I've been keeping here in at home. Or I wish I could reawaken the passion to speak to the younger generation or even to the older generation. Or may kaibigan ako na nabuhay yung passion niya paano para maging karpintero. Shout out to Mark from Parañaque. Yun. Ano yung mga gusto nyong magising na talento or hobby or something that gives you purpose and passion? I want you to put there at the comment section there. All right, Grace Goronal, hi. Grace from Bicol, good afternoon to you. I would also want to say, to do a little shout out to Mary Grace. There you go. Karen, Cherry Ann. Would also want to say hi to Camille Tirona. Oh, a passion that I want to see is I want to get back to my job. Where, okay, great. Bumalik sa trabaho. That could be a good passion. Or even the passion of simply serving. Okay. Please do your comments. Keep them coming. And allow me to do a little announcements here. Okay, first, inviting you, since it's already next week, will be Open Door Sunday. It's an event wherein it's a complete one. We start at 9 with a mass, then afterward sharing, then it would be a talk. The title is Just Do It. Gawin mo na. Sige na. So it would be on March 6th. We will share it as well on our page at Pathways of Hope, both on Facebook. So yeah, please join us. Next would be Kakaiba Ka. Every second and fourth yung show, then there would be a reaction every first and third Sunday of the month, 4 in the afternoon. Another thing, malapit na po ang Lent. In fact, magsisimula na po siya this coming Wednesday for Ash Wednesday. That being said, the Proclaim Ministry, which is the umbrella online group of where Pathways of Hope is part, will be giving you a free 3-day recollection. The title of that recollection is Overcome, and it will start on April 2, 3, and 4. I need you to note this down kasi iba-iba yung oras at iba-iba yung show na magbibigay sa inyo ng serbisyo. For Pathways of Hope, it would be on April 2 at 7 in the evening. Yes, 7 in the evening live Manila time. The title of our show is Finding Peace. Then, April 3, it would be Kakaiba Ka. Then on April 4, it would be Open Door. That being said, wala muna po tayong time out for the month of March. And might be saying, oo, pati April. Kasi ang April naman, we're going to give you an Easter special. We're going to give you an Easter special entitled Easter Mornings. So, usually, just stay there. But usually, ang nangyayari, di ba, puro Holy Week. This time, Pathways of Hope will give you a different one. 8 days of wonderful mornings, knowing that the Lord is alive. Same thing, kasi mahal niya tayo, He will be alive in us. All right? Now, another thing, if you have questions for the speaker, kindly type your questions at the comment section below so we can view and we will be able to answer them live. All right, let me just check. All right, here you go. Josefina, Marivi, Jaja, and Jackie May. Shout out to you. Camille Tirona is calling us to be watching this live or possibly replay. Handa na tayo. I'm so excited with our speaker. Halina, samahan niyo ako magdasal. Magkikwento muna ako. Never say die. This is the famous tagline of my favorite PBA basketball star since the 1970s. So alam niyo na po edad ko. Kaso nga lang, pagkatapos ng retirement niya, Ang inisip ng iba, mawawala na yung passion na yun. Apparently, even after his retirement, until now, the never say die spirit, mararamdaman mo pa rin. Personally, gustong gusto ko po itong filosofiyang ito. Yung pagod ka na, pero itutuloy mo pa rin kasi alam mo kung ano ang nakataya. Risk it all. Dahil alam mo sa loob mo, maganda ang kalalabasan ng lahat pag binigay mo ito. Mapapagod ka at times. Manghihina. Pero pagkatapos nun, dahil alam mo yung why mo, yung passion mo, raratsyada pa rin. Yung mukhang imposible, pero dahil sa grasya ng Diyos at pagmamahal niya, ipapanalo natin. Sabi nga sa English, eyes on the prize, because it is worth it. Sana, ganun din tayo sa ating buhay at buhay pananampalataya. Yung itataya natin ang lahat dahil batid natin na buong buo ang ating prize. And His name is Jesus. At si Kristo yun. Siya ang ating prize na nasa huli. Nakasama natin from the start. And He will always be the biggest prize for you. Sabi nga sa Bible from 2 Timothy 4:7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Let this be your prayer. Lord, help me fix my eyes on you always. I want to finish strong in this race called life. Ikaw lamang po, Lord. Sapat. Alright. No, I'm so fired up with this conversation. Let me introduce our powerful Hopegiver this afternoon. Yep. He's an author, an international speaker, a founder of the Fired Up University, which is an online school for Catholic creators, a member of Couples for Christ. Every Tuesdays and Thursday, you will be able to watch him live at 3 in the afternoon through Kirby Yaban, Fired Up Life, also known as the Fired Up Show. He's an author of a Devo or devotional book entitled 365 Fired Up Days and a wonderful book entitled The Fired Up Life. It's an ebook. I want you to purchase it through the fireduplifestore.com. My dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so humbled and honored to be with this man. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kirby Yaban.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Kirby.
Ayan. How are you, Pao?
I'm doing well. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, kinakabahan ako. But then again, alam mo yung kabang, you're just excited to be with a wonderful person. So thank you for being with us.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. So I'm so excited.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Spotlight is on you, bro.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. You know, I just want to request something to you, friends, brothers and sisters, those who are watching, that let's all have a fired up heart for this afternoon. I know you have a lot of maybe worries, marami tayong iniisip, but for this next 30 to 45 minutes, let's just be anticipating the fire from the Lord. All right, so if I may share my screen. All right, awesome. So, yes, unang-una pong gagawin natin, pakitype po sa ating chat or pakitype po dyan sa ating comment section yung word na fired up so that I can see who are fired up here in this broadcast. Ayan, come on. Yes, Pangs is fired up. What's up? Ayan, sino pa ba ang fired up dyan? And just keep your comments coming. I want to see your names. I want to see who else is fired up. Jennifer Salcedo is fired up. Judy is fired up. Brian is fired up. Ayan, marami palang fired up dito. All right. So, yes, Camille, thank you for being fired up today. And you know what, as Christians, as people who live the faith, that is one of the things that mark us as a Christian. Being on fire because we have been baptized in the Holy Spirit. Kailangan fired up tayo. All right, all right. So, ayan, si Augie is also fired up. Thanks for being fired up this afternoon. I'm gonna share to you the fired up life, the whole concept, the whole idea, and how to live with passion and purpose. There you go. My name is Kirby Liaban, and when I graduated college, medyo idealistic talaga ako. I wanted to do something with my life that could help change the world. You know, well, a lot of my classmates would think about a lot of income and all these things and their ambitions. Ako naman, Lord, how can I help in changing the world? Ayan, so what I did, I became a full-time missionary for Couples for Christ through the Youth for Christ ministries. And praise God, I was sent on mission to different countries, 36 countries in fact. And dumating din ako dun sa West Africa in Sierra Leone where I remember riding at the back of the motorcycle for 6 years going from one country to the next, usually aeroplano or land. Ito naman motor going from Sierra Leone to Liberia, and that's one unforgettable mission that I had, giving talks in different small communities, small villages, and just setting up Catholic groups there, Christian Catholic groups. And after some time, after that first 16 years of my life, nagkaroon na ako ng family, and my family was growing. My kids were growing up, and of course, from single life to married life, my calling shifted. No, instead of just doing mission, sabi ko kailangan na tutukan yung ating pamilya because that is our primary vocation. So I felt like at that point in my life, I had a new calling, a new stage of life. And that was the time that I decided to become a business person, an entrepreneur. But lo and behold, I was not used to the business life. I was not used to being exposed to, all the paperwork. I was used to giving talks. I was used to going on mission, but not dealing with the hustles of business life, finding clients and etc. Right? So I felt like I was lost. I felt like I was losing the fire, and I didn't know who I was. In other words, parang nagkaroon ako ng quarter life crisis at that point. I don't know if you go to that situation, friends, where you feel like, ano ba ang talagang calling ko at this point in my life? Ano bang pinapagawa mo, Lord? And at that point, I was confused, and I could say I was the opposite of becoming a fired up person. But what I did was, I created a blueprint. And I said, kailangan ko ipagdasal to, 5 bagay or 6 na bagay: my passion, my purpose, my vision, values, and goals. And when I, got those pinned down, when I got those written down, I said, wow, may clarity. And that clarity, I believe, was a grace from the Lord. It was a gift from God to me. And later on, pinanganak na rin yung message na live a fired up life. And I realized that my calling was to really reach and serve those who need to find passion and purpose in life. And I'm so glad that I'm in this show because this is part of my mission para to reach out those people na who feel like lost in life, who feel depressed, who feel like burned out. Ayan, because I myself went through a difficult phase from coming from there. So I often ask this from people when I give talks in companies, what's your favorite day of the week? And hardly anybody would answer Monday. At sabi ko, wow, siguro natural lang Friday kasi bukas walang pasok and it's the weekend, but hardly do we say Monday. But here's what I realized. I serve in Couples for Christ, and I realized that when we have our prayer assemblies, when we have our worship, when we have our holy mass, the whole purpose of that is actually to do mission. No, we are together in communion so that we can do mission. So that's I shifted my mind. Sabi ko, I want Monday now to be my favorite day because dito ko i-apply ang mission na tawag ng simbahan. And I realized that when Christians are not fired up at work, they become poor witnesses. And when we become poor witnesses, we're not able to invite people in the faith kasi we hate Mondays. We hate work. And the work is the one giving us the blessing. And therefore, I shifted my mindset. Sabi ko, kailangan fired up tayo, lalo na sa trabaho. Because that is the time when we will truly become witnesses. And so I have this communion and mission model. We are in communion, and so that we can be sent on mission. And John Paul II pronounced this in Christi Fidelis Laici in his document, no, nung buhay pa siya. And he wrote there about the the connection of communion and mission, the inseparability. Madalas po tayo nagko-communion, we gather, we are united in the Lord in our prayer time. But when do we actually do mission? And when we do mission, it means that we have to bring the fire to our families. We have to bring the fire to our workplace. And that is where the Fired Up's Life's mission is to evangelize the workplace. It's to really bring fire into the hearts of those people who are working, where usually we find very, very less motivation. Ayan. So katulad ng mga, apostles, when the Holy Spirit descended upon them, grabe, they were all fired up. And in one day of preaching ni Saint Peter, 3,000 people ang na-convert. Imagine that, no? That kind of fire. And that fire's not been diminished. That fire is in you right now. The fire that the apostles received is in you. And you have to claim it and you have to bring it out. You have to nurture it and become good stewards of that fire. And that's the idea of the fired up life. After 5 years of entrepreneurship, at that point in my life, I said I have to write it down. My 16 years of mission work and my 5 years of entrepreneurship work, I put it all in one book, and it's called The Fired Up Life. And praise God, unexpectedly, it caught fire. The book caught fire, and National distributed it, fully booked, Power Books in St. Paul. And Brother Bo Sanchez was the one who published it through the Shepherd's Voice publication. A year later, it became a best-selling book in the market. And I said, hanggang doon na lang ba dapat mag-spread din ang fire throughout the internet? So I started to blog, create my own website, started to do 1-minute videos over Facebook, and started also my podcast over Spotify. And I had some also talks on TV talking about the Fired Up Life, especially motivating, the working people out there who really dread work and dread Mondays. After that, nagulat ako because I became nominated in the Catholic Social Media Awards as one of the male influencers of the year. And 2020 happened. Everything was working well. Everything was doing great. Pero nangyari 2020, we all know what happened there. COVID happened. But, the Lord just inspired me to start a show. Dati po, araw-araw po ito, Monday to Friday. And I called it the Fired Up Life Show. And now I'm on my 346 episode doing this. And I started to write my second book. And it's called 365 Fired Up Days, a devotional for working people, for people who struggle at work and hate work, love service, they love going to church, but they dread work. And you can't live a fired up life just being fired up on the weekends. It has to be our whole week, our whole month, right? And yeah, you can go and check out, kirbyliaban.com/21 days and get first free 21 days out of it. All right. So yeah, and the mission pursued. I became a servant of CFC Cambodia and started my own online ministry called firedupuniversity.com to train other people who want to spread their fire online. And I call them Catholic creators. Ayan po, at the end of the day, sabi ko, Lord, my prayer after college, I thank God na in my own little way, I was able to somehow make a little, contribute a little change in the world because of the Holy Spirit. And all of us are called to that, to have made a difference in this world through our own ministries, through our own initiatives, through our involvements in our communities and serving the church. We're all called to be fired up. No? So kung nanonood ka ngayon at may katabi ka, sabihin mo sa katabi mo, let's get fired up. 'Di ba? Kung katabi mo asawa mo, let's get fired up. If you're watching this with your children, let's get fired up. And if you're watching this alone, just tell yourself, I want to get fired up. All right? All right. So, let's all get fired up, guys. So, but the big problem, I just want to lay down some problems. What hinders us from being fired up? Ano ba yung mga bagay-bagay na, that just leaves us watered down. Nawawala yung ating passion. It can be fear and anxiety. Marami tayong kinakatakutan in the future. When we think about the future, if you have a family, can I sustain my family? What will my children become like? Or will I be able to still keep my job? How about my retirement? We wonder about these things. How about our country? What will our country become? We have this fears and anxiety, and it takes the fire out of us. We have self-doubt, no? Iisipin natin, kaya ko ba magnegosyo? Kaya ko ba to? Can I do the things that are being offered to me? Or maybe in service, parang in-offer ka na maging leader, then you doubt yourself, hindi ko kaya yan. Wala akong oras para dyan. No, and we just keep on doubting ourselves even if other people see the potential in us. At ito, no, malaki na dulot ng kawalan ng fire is of course our personal problems. When we have problems that are just there for a long time, haunting us, coming back and forth at hindi mawala-wala yung mga problema na yan. It can be financial problems, it can be relationship problems, it can be family problems, but these are the things that take the fire out of us. Of course, also wrong attitude in handling pressure. Diyan din, no? And when we get pressured, we lose the fire kasi nasistress tayo. And relationship concerns and the lack of trust. So I see here that the problem is, a lack of motivation. A lack of motivation for us in terms of working, in terms of serving in our communities, in terms of pursuing our goals. So we ask, where's the fire? How do we manage feeling burned out, no? And how do we sustain that fire? No, madali lang magsimula sa isang ministry, but how do we sustain it? Paano tayo tatagal sa isang calling, no, na tawag sa atin ni Lord? Na kaya maraming nagba-backslide, kaya maraming nagwawala sa service because it seems like we can't sustain the fire. All right, so that's what we want to overcome today. That's what we want to solve today. Okay, so you might be this, no, a charcoal na nagbabaga naman, but we actually want to become a blazing fire. No, we want to become a bonfire of inspiration, a bonfire of love, of service for the Lord. All right, so I hope you're all fired up. I hope you want to become like this fire because that is truly the calling of the Holy Spirit for us. So let's learn how to live with passion and purpose by living a fired up life. I mean, to simplify things, what does a fired up person look like? Ano yung limang bagay o palatandaan ng isang fired up person or a person who is living a fired up life? I contemplated long about this and I realized these are the 5 things that will get you fired up if you live by kahit isa sa mga ito. No? And I also call this the fired up mindset. So the 5 signs of a fired up life is number 1, you're potential driven. Second, you're productive. Third, you're priority oriented. Fourth, you're positively grateful. And fifth, you have possibility thinking. Let's go one by one in each of these points. Mindset number 1, or the first sign of living a fired up life, is that you are potential driven. Now, when I say potential driven, you're driven by your potential. That God-given potential that you have in you that often we do not bring out kasi we have self-doubt, we have anxieties, we just say no to these things, di ba? And my question is, what is the most valuable land in the world? Ano ba, no? Naisip natin mga lupa sa Ayala, Makati, and all the posh places, no? But really the most valuable land in the world, I could say, is the graveyard. Bakit po? Because a lot of potentials are buried there. They always say, mamaya na, bukas na, sa pag-retire ko na siya gagawin, sa pag-retire ko na isusulat tong libro na to, but it never happens because they always say it and just do it later. So I just like to quote Todd Henry, one of my favorite authors. No, he says, the most valuable land in the world is the graveyard. In the graveyard are buried all the unwritten novels, never launched businesses, unreconciled relationships, and all of the other things that people thought, I'll get around to that tomorrow. One day, however, their tomorrows ran out. Ayan po. Pag-isip-isip po tayo. What is that one thing that God is calling you to do, but you just keep on postponing it? What is that, calling that you keep on putting aside because you're afraid to make the first step, and that is your potential. Okay? And a potential generally refers to a currently unrealized ability. Yung natutuwa ko dun sa picture na to because the picture depicts a kitten looking at him itself in the mirror and seeing a lion, 'di ba? And usually, when we look at ourselves, we are the biggest critic. Ang pangit-pangit ko. Sinasabi natin ang bobo-bobo ko. Kulang ka, you are not enough. No, we are the biggest critics to ourselves. But we have to see it as how God sees it. What does God see in you? When Jesus approached Peter, you're no longer a fisherman. You'll be fishers of man. 'Di ba? And indeed, Peter became our first pope. He became a great man because Peter started to understand how Jesus saw him. What do we see within ourselves? What is our true potential as God, how God would see it? When they were selecting the next king to be anointed, 'di ba? From the sons of Jesse, nakapila sila lahat. And they would look at the other brothers. Tapos tinanong, meron ka pa bang isang kapatid? Yes, David is out there tending the sheep. And when the prophet saw David, ayan, yan yung magiging hari. And then at that point, David was like, bata pa siya, no? But he became a man after God's own heart. And he saw the potential of beating Goliath. And it's just amazing how the Bible, always through the prophets, through Jesus, and through the voice of God, reveals the potential of people. So anong nire-reveal ni Lord sa'yo? What is that God-given potential? One day, I said, Lord, pangarap ko talagang magsulat ng libro. Then I would always say, imposible, walang oras. But you know what? I got inspired one day and just said, I'll do it. I'll just do it. I'll just start writing. And a year later, that book was published. And I said, yun, pwede pala akong maging author. So just one example, but I believe we have to be potential driven. And I was giving a talk in the Bilibid prisons, and after my talk, I was given a gift, and it was a picture of Mother Teresa. At ang gumawa pala nito ay isang prisoner. And I realized there and then, that the destiny, the potential of that person who made this painting was not to be a criminal, but to be an artist for the Lord. What indeed is your true potential? Saint Maximilian Kolbe would put it this way, holiness. Kasi holiness is our truest potential. Our truest potential is to become saints, brothers and sisters. Kung may katabi po kayo ngayon, pakisabi sa kanya, you can be a saint. No? Pwede nyo rin itag ngayon yung mga kaibigan nyo. Sabihin nyo, you can be a saint. Tapos itag nyo yung pangalan nila dyan sa ating comment section. And most often than not, we'll laugh. Can you really be a saint? Can I really be a saint? And that is our calling as Catholics, as Christians, as human beings, to truly become saints. And sabi ni Maximilian Kolbe, Saint Maximilian Kolbe, big W plus small w is equals sanctity. That's God's will, the big W, and our will, cooperating with His will yield to sanctification. And that is a wonderful way to put it. And truly, our potential will be, to be God's saints, right? So we gotta have a vision of ourselves. We want to write down what we want to become. Madalas tinatanong natin sa ating mga anak, what do you want to be when you grow up? But still right now, even at me at 43 years old, I can still ask that question to myself. What do I want to be when I grow up or when I grow old? What is my picture of a life lived fully? All right. So there, have a vision of yourself. Mindset number 2. So the first one is potential driven. And we have to remember that we have to bring out all the potential that God has instilled in us as seeds, and we have to grow them and nurture them. If you're potential driven and if you have always that vision of yourself, then I could say that you can live a fired up life. Mindset number 2 is to constantly think that I have to be productive today. I have to produce something today, because the gift is the day. Today, ngayong araw na to, as I'm doing this day is a gift. How am I valuing it? Itong regalo ni Lord. Sasayangin ko ba tong araw na to? Will I put this to waste, or will I make the most out of it? Because a fired up life is truly composed of fired up days, right? So, yeah, we ask ourselves, where did the hours of our lives go? Saan ba napunta? 'Di ba? Minsan iniisip natin, what did I do with my life? What have I been doing? Okay, and it gets us depressed because we regret a lot of things. No, where did the hours of our lives go? And we tend to worry a lot, to worry with so many hours in the day. And you know what? Worrying is the most wasteful activity. And in fact, no saint would tell you to worry, but instead to lift up in petitions, di ba? To not worry but to pray for it. All right? And natutuwa ako dito kay Master Ugwe dito sa kay Po, no, in Kung Fu Panda. It's almost a cliche kasi sikat na sikat to eh. No, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. You know, one psychiatrist friend of mine said, if people always think about the future, they become anxious. If people think regret a lot about the past, they become depressed. You know, kaya you have to be mindful of the gift of today. You know what? If we do excellently today, we become productive today. The future will take care of itself. Just focus on today. Plan ahead for the future, but put your focus at this moment. Right now, I'm giving a talk at this moment, and I'm sure some of you are doing other things. You cannot focus, and that lack of focus will make a lot of waste because you are not fully engaged in something. When you're talking to somebody, you have to be fully engaged, you have to be fully focused to that person because that person is there present. And a lot of times we watch our watch, we look at our watches, we look at our cell phones while talking to somebody, right? So we are so anxious all the time. We have to learn how to be mindful and to be fully present. So I love this diagram. Do you have a problem? No? So don't worry, right? Wala kang problema eh. But do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then don't worry because you can do something about it. Do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? No, wala kang magagawa tungkol sa problemang yan. Then don't worry because you can't do anything about that. No, a lot of us worry about so many things we can't do anything about. All right? So worrying really, instead of doing that, we just have to pray for it. We just have to lift it up to the Lord because by praying for it, we are led to the right actions. We are led to wisdom. So let's make a success list instead of just having a checklist, knowing our priority activities, no? And that make the biggest impact on our goals. Ayan po. So marami kasi success list at checklist. We have 20 things, but we do the things that are, shall we say, comfortable for us, but not the urgent ones or the important ones really. So we always procrastinate doing the most important ones because, yun nga, mahirap silang gawin. Pero those are the ones that really bring the success in your day and feel productive at the end of the day. So we have to make today matter. Our decisions have implications to our future. And remember that today is a gift. Kailangan, we have to really use it well. So right now you're watching this, it's 4:39 p.m. in the Philippines. How was the earlier parts of your day? Are we good stewards of today? So if you just take it one day at a time, then we can live a fired up life. We can win the day, So yes, we go now to our third mindset. Okay, if we become productive, if our goal is to become productive in a day, I could say that you're living a fired up life. Kasi excited ka maging productive. Mindset number 3, you have to be priority oriented. You want to establish the right order in your life. Do you feel sometimes like this woman here in the picture? Parang ang dami mong involvement. May service ka pa, may business ka pa, may tutorial ka pa, meron ka pang mga modules na titingnan ng mga anak mo, meron ka pang family problem, ang dami mong involvements, and at the end of the day, napagod ka kasi you feel like you're missing out on your priorities, na pag-iwanan yung pamilya, na pag-iwanan yung mga anak mo, na pag-iwanan yung asawa mo, no? So, take a look at that. What are your priorities? Now, what comes first in your life? And I could say, in terms of our values, we say values so kasi valuable yan sila. Okay, so we put faith at the top and put faith in everything. Okay? Put faith at the top and put faith in everything. Hindi disintegrate ang faith in the other aspects. So you put your faith in your family, then your third priority, your work, then your service, then your relationships. No, kasi I put work there in the middle kasi the Fired Up Life is about, a ministry that really evangelizes work. And I could say that we have to be fired up at work because the work enables us to put our lives in order. It is a source of blessing. All right. So I hope you still remember the three P's na banggit ko na po. Potential driven, productive, and of course priority oriented. Number fourth mindset is to be positively grateful. Your gratefulness is infectious. This is not just about positive thinking. Positive thinking minsan parang you do not regard the real problem in the house, or you just disregard the other problems and not deal with them. But being positively grateful is about having that grateful heart, while and that induces a positivity in our disposition, in our dealings with people, in terms of our cheerfulness, in terms of our gentleness, and relationships with other people. Okay, so what is the opposite of being grateful? Talking about being positively grateful. Ayan, pag mareklamo na tayo, pag sobra na tayong mareklamo, yes, we are entitled to complain, but sometimes it becomes a habit. Sometimes it takes over our relationships. Sometimes if you're a husband to your wife or vice versa, araw-araw na lang ng buhay mo, puro reklamo naririnig mo at puro reklamo ang sinasabi mo. And when that happens, right, we lose that gratefulness. We lose sight of the blessings in front of us. Sabi ni Zig Ziglar, be grateful for what you have and stop complaining. It bores everybody else, does you no good, and doesn't solve any problems, right? Ito yun, boring pala, no, na mareklamo ka, right? So, if you're on your Facebook, if you keep just complaining and ranting out, it doesn't help people, then better not post it at all, di ba? Kasi yun nga, it repels people actually, and you don't become a problem solver. All right, so infect others with the joy of a grateful heart. Joy is very infectious, therefore be always full of joy. Si Mother Teresa, sabi niya, even though her ministry was the most difficult ministry, administering to the poor, di ba? And literally, coming in face to face with the sick on the streets, the dying, people with leprosy, and all these types of ailments. So Mother Teresa was joyfully doing these things. Okay, so gratefulness for me, it's the awareness of God's blessings upon your life. Ayan, so parang araw-araw nakikita mo yung kotse mo, bahay mo, mga anak mo, nakikita mo yung mga kapatid mo, yung parents mo, and you say, Lord, thank you. I might not be the richest person in this world, but I am rich because I have you and I have these people. I have my ministry, I have my small group, I am able to worship you, I'm able to sing for you. And when you're aware of God's blessings, you can't help but be grateful. And when you're grateful, you become a real good problem solver. You always see the positivity in things. You always see the solutions in things and not end up just grumbling and complaining without anything to offer. Okay, so assignment for those who are watching this. Okay, so say thank you to at least 5 people each day. Simulan natin sa ganyan, no? Yung mga tricycle driver, the security guard, the janitress, the janitor, people who feel like they're down in their lives. Thank them for their vocation, thank them for their jobs, thank them for being present. You know what, you become happier when you do that because you impart the Spirit of God to them, the spirit of gratefulness. At the end of each day, also thank God for 5 things. Thank God each day for 5 things. Simulan lang natin sa 5 bago tayo matulog. Kasi if we don't thank God, we will always be comparing our lives with other people. Iko-compare mo sa batchmate mo na sobrang yaman na, uh, iko-compare mo dun sa dapat, eto na ang timeline ko sa buhay ko. By this time, I should have accomplished these things. And since you're not accomplishing these things, you get depressed. Okay? But you're blessed. Okay? You're still blessed despite that. Right? Because you have God in you. So thank God for 5 things each day. Ano pong pa-assignment ko po sa inyo. Mindset number 5, brothers and sisters, is possibility thinking. 'Di ba? Nothing is impossible. Sabi ni Mama Mary, 'di ba? With God, nothing's impossible. When she said her yes, grabe, how can I get pregnant with the Holy Spirit? Grabe, di ba? So how do we become positively have that possibility thinking? So we look at the saints that they were doing a lot of impossible things. They were accomplishing a lot of miracles and a lot of impossible things, because God is with them. So we have to adopt a possibility thinking that with God, nothing is impossible. So dapat excited tayo dito. Usually when we want new results, then we still implement the old way, then expect new results. Then it's called insanity, di ba? So when we say possibility thinking, you're willing to venture into new innovations, no? New ardor, new expressions, no? New methods, sabi ng ating simbahan for the new evangelization. So we have to think of new ways. Ito, Pathways of Hope is a new way of reaching out to people. Now, I've been used to giving talks to a room full of people, or to a gym, to a small room. But right now, I'm giving a talk to a camera and imagining you watching that camera. These are new expressions. These are new ways. But you know what? Right now, people are being blessed because of the new technology. So we have to think of possibilities. I love this story about Roger Bannister. He was the first man to run a mile under 4 minutes. Ibig sabihin po nito, before 1954, all the scientists, all the experts said it's impossible for a human being to be able to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. Pero si Roger Bannister, under 4 minutes ang ginawa niya noong May 6, 1954. To be exact, 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and 0.04 milliseconds, right? And you know what is mind-boggling at this point? After he broke the record, about a few months later, another person did the same thing. And a few months later, yet another person did the same thing. And I heard that in the US, the 4-minute mile is a qualifier to some varsities in some track and field, setups there. Okay, in track and field clubs there. So what was impossible suddenly became possible. And my question is, what is your 4-minute mile? What is it that you're called to do that a lot of people would say, imposible yan, hindi mangyayari yan, hindi mag-work yan. Then until you did it, suddenly, nagiging normal na sa isang grupo, sa buhay mo, na dati akala mo, imposible. Akala ng iba, imposible. Don't be afraid to do the impossible because God is with you. If God calls it, you're bound to be amazed. You're bound to do the impossible. There you go. So, John de la Fontana, I'd just like to quote him. He says here, man is so made that when anything fires his soul, impossibilities vanish. Di ba? No, kung fired up daw tayo, sabi ng French poet na to, mawawala yung imposible kasi fired up tayo. No, totoo naman, if the Holy Spirit is with us, that's why the apostles thought, we will preach to the ends of the earth. And according to theologians, to the ends of the earth would mean Rome. And indeed, naabot nila yung Rome. And Rome, where Vatican is right now, to the ends of the earth. All right? So nothing is impossible. St. Francis of Assisi said, start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. So we want to look at that. We want to see that. We want to follow that. Gawin mo na ang kailangan, mga necessities. Then later on, God will push you to the next big thing. All right. So these are the 5 things that I wanted to leave with you. Again, be potential driven, be productive, be priority oriented, be positively grateful, and have this possibility thinking. All right. So what I'm saying here is live out any of the 5. Kahit isa lang po. You don't have to be overwhelmed by embodying all 5. But if you just choose one, then you will be living with passion and purpose. And here's what I want you to do. Right there in the comment section, everybody who's watching this, all of you, even on replay, choose one of the 5 mindsets and type it down there in the comments. Which of the five mindsets do you want to develop more? All right? So kung sa tingin mo, I need to be more potential driven, then, type it there in the comment section. I want to see your names there, guys. No? You declared fired up kayo, so let's be fired up today. All right? Let's see. Ano ba ang pipiliin nyo? Being potential driven, being productive, being priority oriented, being positively grateful, or having that possibility thinking. Awesome, Russell. Productive ang pinili niya. Who else? You know, just type there. Kung para naman we have a call to action na Pangs is saying here, he wants to be priority oriented. Ayan, yan lang muna i-focus natin. Just focus on being priority oriented. Yung apat na yan mamaya na sa buhay mo. All right? So, keep your comments coming as you discern which of the five things you want to pursue. All right? It's so easy to remember. I hope you take a screenshot of this. Yan po. All right, that's it. That's our show. And I hope you got fired up today. Again, remember those 5 P's and you live a fired up life. You live a life of passion and purpose. God bless you. Keep being fired up.
Galing. Masasabi ko. Alam mo, yung dinadigest mo pa lang yung isa, may pumasok na kagad na idea, na-overwhelm ka na, tuwan-tuwa ka na kasi ang dami pa dapat gawin. Maraming salamat, Kirby. That's one amazing conversation. Now, here's the thing, all right? I know you're having a fired up afternoon right now. Mag-overtime tayo. I'm just so excited that this conversation I know will go on. So I just need to give you a heads up. We may do a little overtime, but please stay with us. I want you to be part of this amazing afternoon. Kanina, binabasa ko yung mga comments. Kirby, thank you for gracing us. Thank you for the wisdom. We praise God for the wisdom that He has been imparting to us on how we can be a fired up individual. And I believe there's also such thing as a fired up church since we are part of that church.
Amen.
Kanina ko pa binabasa yung mga comments. I'll try to browse back. I just want to do a shout out for Ace Elevera. Sana tama yung pronunciation ko. Ang dami niyang tinatag dito. Most especially when you mentioned you tag the people that you want to be saints. He tagged Bani. There you go. You can be a Saint. Bani Burgos, Evit Warner, Algar. I hope I'm pronouncing that so well. Pepito, Shari, Ricofort, Freddy Lou, and Jong. I thank you. That's very inspiring. Knowing that a lot of people right now are being fired up by this conversation. I would also want us to do a shout out to Camille Tirona for saying Saint Lizelle Lizzie. Nice. And another thing, si Jong sumagot. Yun lang. Is this Cebuano, bro?
Yes, that's Cebuano.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you read? Can you translate it in
Yes. Jong Abuan is saying, maogyud na daily goal nako show na masantos.
Which means
He's saying that that's really my goal every day of my life is to be a saint.
Amazing.
Thank you, Jong. They're my
so
friends,
much.
actually.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. This is the time that I want you to type your questions now for our Hopegiver. And I want you to take this wonderful opportunity to listen to him, to alam mo yun, for this conversation to be live. All right? I'm seeing some questions here, but please allow them to come pa. So we can have this wonderful conversation. Oh, yan na.
And by the way, Pao, I hope everybody can stay tuned because I have a very special offer for you with regards to my book. No? So I'm giving a very special offer. So I hope you can sustain and not leave this while during the question and answer portion. So after that, may paano tayo, pa promo. Okay.
There you go. From Paula Castro Ilagan. How to discern if my goals are according to the will of God?
Yeah, definitely God gave us the freedom. Kasi mahal niya tayo, di ba? Pag mahal mo yung isang tao, bibigyan ka ng kalayaan. And the basic, shall we say, guideline here is do not sin. Na, sabi nga,
right.
Si John Bosco, you can play, you can do anything, but do not sin. And that is the first guideline. Will that goal of yours lead you to sin? Then if it's not
Mhm.
gonna lead you, sorry, if that goal of God will lead you to sainthood, not sinful life, no, then automatically you can say, hey, that's a good start, okay. And of course, what about choosing between two good things? Yun yung mas mahirap,
Right.
di ba, Pao?
Mhm.
That's really where discernment comes in. Okay
Exactly.
din dito, pero okay din dito. Pwede ring mahirap dito, pero mukhang mas mahirap dito. Ano ba ang less mahirap? You know, pwede din ganun eh, no? Kasi we want to discern in that way. So you want to check your values, your values in your life. What are the Christian values that I believe in, that I espouse? Are these values the values that Jesus has taught us? No. So we want to align them. And there are certain values that are emphasized in our lives. Like for me, there should be creativity, there should
Uh-huh.
be passion, there should be integrity. These three values for me, Pao, are
Mhm.
important. And so when I choose a path in my life, dapat nandun yung tatlo na yon. And I could say that God inspired me with those values. I could say that that could be God's will in my life. Now, here's a certain thing about discernment also. We want to think, number one, practicality. Okay?
Mhm.
Mag-pros and cons muna, no? Si who asked that question, Paula. Pros and
Paula.
cons muna. No, use the mind at the level of the mind. Kung practical naman, okay, that can be a good sign. Second, after doing your pros and cons, imagine your life, Uh, do I like the life that could be when I choose this path? You use
Mhm.
your imagination now. No, and the third is to, after that you can have a sort of temporary discernment or temporary decision. No, and the Jesuits call it election, no, pero election
Uh-huh.
ngayon. Pero to elect amongst your options in your own discernment. And finally, the stirring of the heart. I love that term, the stirrings in the heart, because this is where prayer really comes in. And
Okay.
sometimes the practical is there, but the calling is strong.
Mhm.
Okay, we have to follow that calling as well. All right. Yung iba kasi diretso lang din sa prayer without considering the practical things. So I
Okay.
could say, use all your faculties, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and this is
Kirby,
where you'll be led to God's will.
can I have a follow-up question on the word discernment? Some of the people watching this might be wondering what is the real meaning of discernment since na-mention mo siya. Can you explain it or I mean let's empower our audience right now. Ano ba talagang ibig sabihin ng discernment?
Yeah, there can be many definitions, but what I like
Mhm.
is Thomas Green, SJ's definition in his book, Weeds Among the Weed, no?
Okay.
Weeds Among the Wheat, napabaliktad ko. Now, he says there that discernment is the meeting point between prayer and action.
Okay.
Okay, it's the meeting point kung saan nagkikita yung prayer tsaka yung action. Okay, so it meets there in discernment. And before you act, you pray about it, and that is the
Mhm.
time for discernment. And that you will be led to what shall we say, the right course of action
Got it.
that you feel where God is tugging you, kung saan ka nalilid.
So, can I say that discernment is good and evil? So definitely you choose the good.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
I'm getting, it's really more of katulad ng maganda this is good, that's understandable, but what is really between two goods at what's God wanted me to do.
Yeah, provided that they have an orientation of what good and evil looks
I
like.
agree.
So uh, obviously if that is a sinful option, then bakit pa dyan, di ba? According to your
Maybe
faith.
evil.
According to, and in our conscience, no, it's a God's gift to all of humanity. No, kahit magkakaibang kultura, religion, that this common tug of the conscience, which is
Mhm.
what our catechism would say, the voice of God.
I
'Di
agree.
ba? So, 'yan. So, pray about that, and of course consult people, talk to a lot of people. That's part of discernment. Having a spiritual director can help you, confiding with
Mhm.
the priest, confiding with your husband. Ayan. So, with all those options, you have to come to a point where you really have to decide. Decide. Kasi ganito pa, discernment can sometimes be used by people to delay things, to
Okay.
procrastinate. Nagdi-discern pa kasi ako. Next year na lang, i-discern ko. I mean, discernment is not to put you in that state of limbo. It is to put you in a course of action,
Mhm.
no, to help you. move forward in life.
Okay, got it. Thanks for that one. Now, there is actually a comment here from Ace. Allow me just to read it. Every time that I can sense that I am losing my fire, I ask the Lord in my prayer to disturb me or to stir my heart. In short, paliyabin niya ako muli at gatungan niya. Gusto ko yung words na yon, no?
Yeah,
Paliyabin niya ako muli at gatungan niya ako. Thank you
yeah.
for that one, Ace. That's
Thank you,
that's
Ace.
very
There will
powerful.
be two. There will be times of consolation, like what
Mm-hmm.
you're referring to as like ginagatong ano ba na feeling mo nagwo-worship ka, you're so on fire, but there's the time of desolation also,
Mm-hmm.
which is necessary in the process of our faith, right? Because in desolation you actually come to know yourself more, your
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses, your dependence on God. And when you feel like your prayer time is dry, your life is dry, that's when you have to hold on to God more and be
Mm-hmm.
faithful all the more.
I agree.
Okay? So, yeah, if you feel like you're losing fire, ask for that grace of fire. No? But more so, maybe the cause of that losing of fire is our immersion with sin. And therefore, the sacrament of confession, the sacrament of reconciliation, sets you on fire. 'Di
I
ba?
agree.
The grace is there. So, di pwedeng antayin lang. Kailangan may gawin tayo. And the sacraments really help that, in that course of action in life.
I agree with that. Okay, may I add a little more? Kasi I saw a number of questions already. For me, what also works aside from confession, you actually have mentors
Yeah.
that you can go to. That's one advantage of being part of a great community with great pastoral leaders that you can work to. Kirby is you can consult with. Talagang ni-refer na you can want to consult with Kirby. Mali ang tinuturo ko yan, si Kirby. You know, it actually adds value to your process of prayer. And ang tawag nga dyan ni St. John of the Cross, the ministry of the night. When you feel it's very quiet.
Yeah, the dark
Okay,
night of the soul. Yeah.
dark night of the soul.
Yeah, yung
All
mga
right.
contemplatives diyan, so they're very familiar with that kasi desolation yung term ni Ignatius
Mhm.
kay Saint John of the Cross is really going through the dark night of the soul.
I
It's
agree.
very si Juan de la Cruz. Saint John of the Cross.
I
Which
agree with that.
becomes the standard name for Filipinos, 'di ba? Juan de la
Mhm.
Cruz.
Well, well, political yan. Sige, I'll explain it to you some other time. But yeah, Juan de la Cruz or also known as Juan Pasang Cruz. Because you're,
Mm.
you're really caring so much. All right, here you go. Let's go with the questions. I have a nice question here from Pang's Easy. Is having a fired up life a state of mind, or is it the same as having a growth perspective? That's a
It's
good one.
both.
Oh,
It's
okay.
both because it starts in the mind, and the
Mm-hmm.
mind really influences how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Pag may idea na binigay sa'yo, it inspires you, di ba? So kaya yung word na metanoia, is actually in the Greek, it's the change of mind.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a change of mindset, it will affect your growth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel that you're growing, then you actually feel happiness. When you feel growth, when you feel progress in your life, kahit konti lang, na I lost 2 pounds, wow, di ba? So, mga ganyan. But, progress makes you happy. And then when you learn more
Yeah.
things, it gives you that happiness and therefore giving you a healthy state of mind.
I
And
agree.
with that, our spirit, no? Minsan kasi hinihiwala yung mind, heart, and spirit. Pero we are actually integrated. We are integrated as a human being. No? We are
Mm-hmm.
embodied spirits and spiritual bodies. So, konektado lahat. Konektado
Mm-hmm.
lahat. Yes, I could say it's a state of mind and it's having a growth perspective. But
Okay.
in a more specific way, growing in the Lord. Kasi what makes the Fired Up Life different from a lot of platforms would be the spiritual aspect. I believe in spiritual motivation. No?
Okay.
So marami, psychological, pumping up, inspiring words, and all these things. The world offers that, but often, because the source of fire is not God, it does not sustain.
Got it. Thanks for that one. We have anonymous questions here. Now, um, I'm a realist, okay? And I tend to look at risk and think about worst case scenarios. That's actually normal, I believe. Because of this, I might have become a pessimist. Developing a right or a positive mindset is good, but it's easier said than done, especially for me. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, well, I could say that first you surround yourself with people who actually bring in the solutions also. It's easy to be a pessimist when you're alone, and from pessimism to depression, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, and from depression to really just wallowing in yourself, with yourself for a few days or a couple of weeks even. But when you're surrounded with a community, like for example, in your case, the Ligaya ng Panginoon, in my case, the Couples for Christ, and any small community. And when we do our prayer assemblies every week, even online, grabe, no? Ang pagiging pessimist ko nagiging nagkakaroon ng hope kasi I hear the stories of other people. And I'm not saying that their situations are worse, but what I'm saying is napakaliit pala ng problema ko
Mm-hmm.
compared to this person who is always being faithful despite what he or she is going through. And it gives me that hope. It gives me that, of course, reaching out also kung makakatulong ako, and gives me that dignity because I'm being able to help that. So that's the first thing. Surround yourself with people whom you think can influence you to think in a more positive way. Another is to live out the gospel. Really, living out the gospel brings you the hope that you need for the day. And it's good to be discerning of what could go wrong. Alam mo sa corporate may tinatawag na six thinking hats. No, and I give that training. Hindi ko lang isa-isahin yung six thinking hats, pero meron ding black hat kasi that you have to wear. That black hat means what could go wrong. Now, what could go wrong in this situation? Pero may other five hats, no? The creativity hat, the white hat which looks about the facts, the red hat which considers your feelings, no, the blue hat which thinks about managerial hat naman. So isa lang 'yon, no? So but if you're wearing the black hat most of the time, pao, that could dominate your life, and it's not a balanced life, it's not a fired up
Mm-hmm.
life. So I would say it's good that you have that gift, pero kailangan balansihin sa ibang way of thinking din. That's just one part. It can be God's gift because you see the problem, and therefore if you know the problem and be able to define that problem, you'll be able to find that solution. It might be a gift to you.
Actually, di ba may kasabihan nga na the devil is in the details.
Yeah.
So, nakikita mo kagad, alam mo, I need to put a structure there.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
the warning lang there, Pao, is
Mm-hmm.
not to be a person who puts out the fire of people and actually not being able to come up with a solution. Kasi you're given that wisdom, uy, may problema, ano ding solution? Isipin mo rin dapat. So you won't get stuck in that pessimistic frame of mind.
Got it. Here's another one. How to know what service is God asking? Oh, okay, this is about service, bro. I always have this feeling that God is asking me to do more for Him. But for the life of me, I cannot seem to understand what that is. Okay.
Yeah. So we want to look at it from a perspective of vocation. Our primary vocation is to really reach heaven. No? Our baptismal vocation. Then we have our marriage vocation or being single blessed, di ba? Like in my case, I'm married, I have kids. And when that service will affect my primary vocation of matrimony, parang red flag na sa akin yun, no? Kasi service is supposed to help society and influence your family to become better and closer. No? So, some people overdo service. They have five services, lector na, music pa, ano pa. Then, the kids complain. Parating wala si mommy, daddy kasi nag-lay minister siya, nag-music. All these things. May member pa siya ng 3 communities. And they feel like baka over service. Gusto lang naman ni Lord, isa lang. And you can do excellently in that one service. So, but with regards to the question here is, um, more. Yeah, God wants us to do a lot of things for Him, provided that we do not leave behind what is our primary calling in life. I came to that point kasi pa where I was so
Mm-hmm.
passionate in serving. Then I felt like, uy, paano yung pamilya ko? Parang napag-iwanan. So I started to align things that could bless my family. That's why I do serve through the Fired Up Life and through giving talks. but there is also a monetization of what I'm doing, so that that my family will be actually blessed with the time that I put in here. That's why I write a book. That's why I have an online university. These things, pal. No, so there's always that part that we need to consider.
Siguro,
Kung ano
mhm,
yun, where peace is, where there is peace, no? Yun yung isa sa mga signs eh. Kung may kapayapaan doon, maybe that's where God leads you. Kahit medyo stormy ang atmosphere or surroundings.
napaisip lang talaga ako. Ang hirap din kasing humindi. It's that Filipino space wherein we do not know. Medyo mahirap kasi humindi. I don't know. We really have to
Yeah,
work.
yeah. I mean, we were trained to obey, no? But what is obedience really? Obedience is, it's not full of obedience when you say yes pero wala labag sa loob mo. No, when you say obedience, it's saying and committing in full faith that you're gonna
Mhm.
do it. Kasi yung iba susunod na lang sa elder, sa leader, kahit ayaw, then we tend to glorify that, no? Pero yun ba talaga gusto ni Lord na susunod ka na lang, no? So it's called compliance, not obedience. No,
Mhm.
I can call it that. But when you say I will be obedient to my elder, I will be obedient to this offer, okay, kung mag-yes na lang din ako, bibigay ko na lang din lahat dyan. But mind you, Pao, whenever we say yes, we have to say no to something else. Otherwise, magsa-stack up yan and your life will be magulo, out of order. Okay, so when you say yes, think about what you're saying no to. And the danger there is you might be saying no to family time. No? So what is always being sacrificed? No, minsan yun, no? Kasi makakaintindi sila. But what
Mhm.
I'm saying here is, yes, mag-yes ako sa talk na to, mag-yes ako sa ministry na to. Pero teka lang ha, magpapaalam muna ako sa isang service ko. And I would say that that could help you live a more peaceful life, a life that is excellent also kasi you are able to give time to that commitment.
I love that answer. Now, before our last question, I just need to say hi to Julita Salvador from Mandaluyong City. Thank you for being with us. All right. For our last question, marami pa pong dumadating. What we can do is we're going to compile it and let's work it out with Hope Giver Kirby Yaban to for us to answer that one. Okay, anonymous again. Out of the five mindsets, which should I focus on doing more so that I could rekindle the fire? The fire. Nako, here's the thing. As I am just burned out.
You,
Mm,
you you look into your situation right now. That's why my guide question at the end is, which of the five mindsets do you think you want to develop more? So I give you the freedom to choose. Kasi kung if you're complaining a lot, maybe you need a positively grateful mindset. If you think that you're always doubting yourself, maybe you need to be more potential driven. If you think medyo tinatamad ka, maybe you have to take on that productive. So I don't know what your struggle is right now, but if you can uh, identify your struggle, you can match it with one of the five mindsets.
thank you so much. Again, we would just want to bless the Lord for this opportunity to be with Kirby Yaban as our hope giver for Time Out this February. Do you have any last words, Kirby?
Yes, I just want to promote something for those who are interested in getting fired up each and every day. If I can request this slide, yes. Yeah, I wrote this during the pandemic, Pao, because I felt like people were getting depressed and down, and I said they need something to fire them up. And these are reflections that I also wrote during that time. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a compilation of many of my Facebook posts that really went, being shared a lot. Di ko naman sasabing viral, but some of them did go viral. But as nakikita ko, there's a lot of inspiration and motivation here. So after you do your devotional in your own communities, like after you do your didake, your 365 days with the Lord, or your in His steps, in our case in CFC, you can do 365 fired up days para naman your devotional for your work. Kasi 5 out of 7 days you work, you need inspiration there, you need motivation there, you need some tips there. So I could say that I wrote this especially for the working person who easily gets burned out. So yeah, in 365 fired up days. And for those who are watching it right now, this show right now, even on replay, you can just go to fireduplifestore.com and you get 200 pesos off, and just enter the code HOPE. And pero may deadline siya by March 1 at midnight. This offer will expire. So I hope you can tell your friends, take a screenshot of this. And I barely have 20 books left, so magiging ebook na naman to pa, no, if if they don't get this at this time period, especially for those who are watching right now. If you're not watching this right now, later pa, tapos March 2 na, mawala na yung code. So I just share this to your friends, and I'm just grateful that I could share my time, my thoughts, and my passion to everyone here.
Again, thank you for Kirby. Kung muna umalis, later I'll call you back just to say goodbye to everybody. Stay with us as I do our final announcements. Okay? Here we go. My dear friends, thank you again for being with us. A few announcements. First, Open Door Sunday. That will be on March 6, 2022. The title is Just Do It. 9 in the morning. Mass, worship, inspirational, sharing, and a wonderful talk. All in one. We'll do um, uh, Facebook live share of that show. Next would be Kakaiba Ka. Every second and fourth, it would be a wonderful topic. Then afterwards, the first and third, that would be their way of giving feedbacks of what the show is. And here's the thing, as our gift for the coming Lenten season, the Proclaim Recollection entitled Overcome. Pathways of Hope will have a live conversation on April 2, 7 in the evening Manila time. Hindi po tayo magsasabado ha. Heads up. Hindi tayo magsasabado. It will be on April 2, 7 in the evening. The title is Finding Peace with no other than Hopegiver Alvin Fabella. That's just the first part. Tapos the following day, April 4, it would be Kakaiba Ka. And the third day, which is April 3 rather, for Kakaiba Ka, then April 4 would be Open Door to cap that wonderful Lenten recollection. Then come the fourth one, come April as well, Pathways of Hope will have a very wonderful Easter special entitled Easter Mornings, which will start on Easter Sunday until the following Sunday as well. That's our way of letting you know that we love you. So again, be with us. Oh, by the way, before we forget, don't forget to you can download our free book entitled Time Out, your 30-day coffee break with the Lord. Just take a photo of that one, just download it. It's a free ebook, our way of letting you know that we're really grateful that you are with us. Well, again, don't forget, every day, please like, follow, and share Pathways of Hope at Landas ng Pag-asa on all of your social media accounts, whether it's in Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram for your daily dose of reflection and inspiration. Again, let me call on Kirby to say goodbye. Again, my name is Pau. Thank you for being with us for this wonderful afternoon. Don't forget, get yours, get the book. You will get a 200 peso discount. Just type the word hope so you can get that discount through Fired Up Life Store. Tama ba yung words ko?
Yeah, fireduplifestore.com.
Thank
Shout
you
out
so
to
much.
Jennifer. Shout out to Jennifer's already ordered the book.
Great.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for
Yes.
being with us here at Time Out. Have a wonderful afternoon.
God bless you, everybody. And, just offer yourselves to the Lord and allow Him to fire you up today. God bless you.
God bless us all. God bless you all. Thank you.